Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So, I'm a transformation coach, I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center located in Westport, Connecticut. At the center, we have a variety of offerings, and they're all geared to help you discover who you truly are and let go of everything that isn't you. So we do that by offering individual sessions and coaching and healing. We also have classes and workshops throughout the year, different topics. Right now, we're doing one on consciously creating the life of your dreams. So you can go on our website. I'll put up our contact info and you can check that out. Hang on a second. There we go. So it's Transformation Center CT for Connecticut.com. And there's a calendar of events, every month, the second Tuesday of the month, we have a shamanic clinic, which we host on Zoom. So you can attend that virtually and find out a little bit more about shamanism and how it works. And you actually get a 30-minute session of a shamanic extraction healing. So check that out. We also do sound baths in the backyard, all kinds of fun stuff. So visit the website whenever you get a chance and check that out. Yeah, so the Spiritual Connection Show, of course, is all about connection because that's one of my core values. And, I just love meeting new people, finding out what they're about, hearing their story. And there's always something in it for you to learn. So listen with your heart and just kind of pick up on anything that might serve you along your journey, because everybody has something to offer. So we're really glad you're here tonight with us. And I'm very excited that my guest tonight is Dr. Randy Schulman. Welcome to the show, Randy.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so I met Randy, years ago. I want to say 15 years ago, something like that. But then we didn't really, connect again for a while. And we recently reconnected through the TLC group, which is a group of holistic health practitioners here in Connecticut. Well, actually, it's also in New York and Westchester County now as well. And Beth Lee started that group about 25 years ago. And I've met so many amazing people that way, including Randy. So I'm going to read a little bit about her so you can get to know her. And I'm going to put up her contact info so you can see how to contact her. Yeah, so Dr. Randy Schulman is a seeker, a visionary, a mother, and a connector. So we have that in common already, right? Yes. Absolutely. She has had a lifelong mission to help others. We also have that in common. And for her, it is most exemplified in her practice of integrative optometry. So she is an optometrist. So this is all of her different roles, it seems like here, and the different websites where you can check out what's going on with her, and her email address at the bottom, drrandyschulman@gmail.com. So again, welcome to the show, Randy.
Thank you.
I feel like I should be calling you Dr. Randy, but
no, that's okay.
Yes. So as you know, I always like to start with asking my guests, the first question is, just tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey, how it started, where you are, anything you want to share about it.
Well, it's kind of funny because when I was 5 years old, I told my mother that I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people. And by 13, I decided, well, I'm going to figure out which kind of doctor I want to be. And then by the time I was 15, I worked for a bunch of different types of doctors, but I loved optometry. I just thought it was so fascinating. And I thought vision is so important to everything that we do. And I also think light is so important to everything that we do. So to me, it just felt right. So you talk about a spiritual path, doors just opened up. I mean, I got a job as a receptionist in an optometrist's office when I was in high school. And then, I was kind of deciding where to go, went pre-med, but then it was, let me really go to optometry school. And it just I think they invited me to be a part of the class on my interview, and just everything along this path has just been easy. And to me, when you're in alignment with what works, it should be effortless. It should be a nice flow. And that's really how it's been. I mean, it was a little bit of a challenge to open my own practice and then open a second practice and then buy out actually that original eye doctor that I worked for when I was 16. And then, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Wow.
But all along the way, I knew I was empathic too. So I felt what the patients were feeling. And I've always had an interest in alternative medicine and looking at the whole person. And to me, that felt like God's work. I can recall 20 something years ago, you're a newer practitioner. I've been in practice now since 91. And, you want to do well, but sometimes you feel like, am I making the right decision? Or how can I help this person? And I realized, you know what? No, it's actually through me. It's not me doing the work. I don't have to be the doctor. I am just the channel. And once I realized that, it was like, I could relax and I could actually just do my work.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought of it that way for medical professionals. Because I definitely feel that way, the spiritual energy healing. Absolutely. I'm just the conduit.
Right.
But so that's great that that's how it works. Wonderful.
Yeah. No, so it's exciting. When you are open to that and you align your will with divine will, it's just a different type of experience.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I totally get that, and I agree with you about, if you're in alignment with your purpose, your soul's purpose, however you want to define it, then things do flow much easier. The universe really wants us to do that and to be happy doing it.
Exactly.
It sounds like you enjoy it.
I love it. And then the exciting part is I do work with students. We have students from 7 different optometry schools. We have a residency program with the school that I went to, SUNY Optometry in Manhattan. Um, and, I don't know what some of them think about what I say, but I drop in these little seeds and I share with them how important it is to connect with your patient. You don't have to prove how much you know, you have to prove how much you care. And that's really what any type of practice is about, whether it's transformative coaching or medical practice. And unfortunately, I feel, in the medical world, you don't always get that. And the other piece is really just being open to so many different things, always learning, always growing. And that's part of a spiritual practice is, to always just learn how to be a better person.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think that's terrific that you bring that, because so it's like being yourself and bringing yourself into, your higher self, all of you, your soul into your practice, and then teaching the other students. That's fabulous.
Yeah, no, it's
They
fun.
get that from other, because I mean, I don't know about you, but I also feel like, when we're in that, we have our spiritual practice and we're all about growth, and it's almost like it's easy, but it's also like our responsibility to spread that too.
Yes, yes, that's how I feel. I mean, it took a while to get to this place because so often we live in a society where you have to prove yourself, and how much do you know? And, how much experience do you have? But it's when you connect at the heart level, that's really the most important thing. And that's really what I try to impart to my students and then also, to my patients.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful way of describing it. You're right. When we have that heart-to-heart connection, everything else sort of fades into the background. Yeah, it's there, but it's not the most important thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just teaching some OT students because there's a lot of similarities in the work that we do that, it's really, they just want to know that you care, that you actually want to help them. I mean, and we were talking about challenging people, challenging patients. Sometimes you just can't get all the data. We're all about getting the data, and you have to do every single test. And especially in the medical world now today, it's all about, make sure you do the right tests. Otherwise you can get sued. And my feeling, it's not so much that. You got to really listen. You got to hear what's happening for the patient, and you can always bring them back and do additional testing later. The most important thing is to get to know that individual.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. What about intuition? How does that play a role for you?
Oh, that's a big part of it. And that's also not really talked about in medicine, but going with the gut and getting a feel for what's going on with that patient. And again, when you think of yourself as a channel, it's almost like, sometimes I'll do a test that I wasn't planning on, or I might ask a question that just felt I better ask this question. And that's what opens up and helps with that individual's patient's care.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also do muscle testing as well. So you can make
Okay, good.
some healthy choices that way too, as long as, again, you get out of the way.
Yeah, so you use the energy testing with the physiology.
Yes, applied kinesiology does work,
Yes.
especially when it's maybe a more challenging case, or I know everybody, when they go to the eye doctor, they feel like it is a test and I'm going to get it wrong when you say, is it better one or two? And I always tell my patients, no, it's the one in the middle. So you're never wrong. But sometimes it's neither. Sometimes that might be the prescription that is clearest, but functionally it puts a torque on the whole system. So, in terms of fine tuning it or using prisms, I might use the AK, or we might look at what's going to be healthiest and look at ways to actually reduce prescriptions. So.
Well, so tell me, I think I might know, but I'm going to ask because I'm not sure. What is the difference between an optometrist, which is what your field, and ophthalmologist? Is that how you
So
say
an ophthalmologist is actually a medical doctor that went on for another 3 or 4 years to do training in the eye, and specifically surgery and medical eye care. An optometrist is actually still 4 years after college, and we're looking at the functional aspect of vision as well as the health and wellness. So in the state of Connecticut, we can pretty much practice similarly to an ophthalmologist. We can do all the testing and a lot of the treatment. The only thing that we can't do is the surgery.
Okay, so I could go to you. You could be my eye doctor.
Correct. And if you happen to have like a retinal tear or something that I can do tests to determine, then I might refer you to the specialist.
Oh gosh, I wish I'd known this like a long time ago. Well, I did have the LASIK eye surgery about, gosh, I don't know, maybe 15, 16 years ago. And so I'm still going to the same ophthalmologist, but I don't really need to do that anymore.
No, once that's been, healed, you don't have to.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna call you up for an appointment then for sure. Because you know how when you start to get older, your eyes change.
Absolutely.
Why is that? What is that, just a natural process?
So there's a lot of things involved. Some of it is a natural process, but like anything else, we can hold off on needing reading glasses. So I've actually done vision therapy myself through the years. In my 40s, I had some difficulty with near vision. I am nearsighted, so that means I do wear contacts or glasses for the distance. So naturally, I'm going to be able to see a little bit better up close than others. But when I did some vision therapy, I didn't need the reading glasses. And that's another, almost 15 years later, I still don't really need reading glasses. If it's real close and I have my glasses or contacts on, it might be a little bit harder. But no, there's a lot of little things that you can do in terms of eye exercises.
Like what?
Near far shifts, like looking close, looking far, doing eye circles to keep the eyes flexible, eye shifts. If you're going to be on the computer, to do palming, to just cover the eyes. We do have a YouTube channel. If you look up Connecticut Eye Care Associates, as well. I put some of the little eye exercises that you can do on there. So that's
Huh.
something you can do. And then the other thing is just all the ways to keep your body healthy, also keep your vision healthy. So eating healthy, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, organic foods as much as possible, getting outside, getting the natural sunlight, exercising, staying hydrated with good water, limiting, toxins, decreasing alcohol and caffeine. I mean, those are just some basics, taking lots of breaks from screens, giving
Mm.
the eyes a rest, getting good sleep. I mean, those are all things that will help protect the eyes. And there's a lot of things that you can do to prevent like macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, glutathione, NEC, are usually very supportive of general eye health. And again, the cool thing is you can see in the eyes what's happening. Now, you can't really diagnose through iridology, but you can look at the eyes and it'll give you a good idea of how healthy the body is. So I make recommendations. This is one of the books that I use, Iris Analysis. It's
Oh,
by Ellen Tart Jensen. But you can
okay.
look at the eyes and it will tell whether or not there might be a nutritional deficiency or potential for, if there might be concerns about different organ systems. That's just one system I use. I also use Denny Johnson's RAID system, which is why I put RAID on my website.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what
So,
that was. Well,
yeah,
tell
so
us
the
tell us
different,
a little bit about that.
so
And then,
you can notice everybody has different irises.
okay,
So
so the iris is the colored
the
part
color part of
surrounding the
it.
pupil.
So
Okay.
these different kind of markings and where they show up. So see these kind of like extra whitish spots that
Mm-hmm.
could indicate that that individual has more of an inflammatory pattern. But each one of these different types of irises also represent a different type of emotional character. So you might be um, more of an introvert or an extrovert based on what you see on the iris. That plus birth order, you can also look at someone's birth order. You can look at their skin. You can look at where they might have had injuries, and that will give you an answer to the overall emotional health and well-being. So I will look at all those things and make recommendations for how to be responsible for your health and wellness and even your emotional reactivity, and make suggestions about what might be healthy and or what might be coming down that family tree, whether it's a genetic or an epigenetic challenge that is landing in your lap. How can you be responsible and how can you clear some of those challenges, and they're usually related to emotions. I mean, they're all related to emotions, really. And how can you help process those emotions, ask for the truth about those emotions, and be responsible for them? So most people don't think that I'm doing all that with the eyes. I can also just check your eyes and give you your contacts, but
Well, I was about to say it's like you're a lot more than just an optometrist. You're like a spiritual counselor, and
well, that's the thing. You really, I can be if, people are interested, because you can see all that in 30 seconds, literally. And what I do is just drop seeds. I'll just let people know some of what I'm seeing. And then it's really their choice to say, hey, can you look further? Or can you tell
hmm
me more?
hmm
And then they can come
or
back for that.
refer. Maybe there's
Yeah.
something
Oh,
that
yeah,
you pick up
absolutely.
on that somebody else might. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I look at it from an integrated or multisensory approach, what's going on here. And my model includes the physical health of the body and eyes, the biochemical health and wellness, the mental, emotional, I call it energetic, because what's around us will actually have an effect, as well as that spiritual, for those that are on the spiritual path and are seeking. Well, the eyes are truly the windows to the soul, and there are things that you can do to be in alignment.
Wow, this is also amazing. I'm so happy you're sharing all this. So that's why you're called an integrative optometrist.
Yes.
It's like, yeah. So are you the only one in the world like this?
No, there are a few of us. I mean, there's maybe half a dozen that kind of work at that very spiritual level. around the world. But there's, I would say, even hundreds that kind of look at this, that were part of some organizations, OEPF or COVD or CSO Vision. Those are the organizations that will look a little bit beyond. CSO Vision is one of the organizations that uses light for healing. So we might use different colored lights to heal different challenges, whether it's something within the eyes, but also the nervous system. So we do a lot of work with trauma and with people that have eye turns, lazy eyes, kids that might have reading and learning challenges, or adults that have attention difficulties that are related to vision. So the doctors in those groups will work with patients, but sadly there aren't that many around.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think that's probably how we got to know each other way back when you were doing some workshops at events for parents about looking for things with their children that might be related to vision issues.
Exactly. So you do have to have, the visual system does lead and direct the motor system. We say it's really important to be able to have good visual skills in order to be able to function in life. So you need to have the eyes going where they need to go, keeping things clear, being able to shift your gaze from one point to the next, and then be able to have those eyes working as a team. And then we use vision to communicate. We want to read something, then we want to talk about it. Well, we have to have good visual skills to read, then to be able to visualize, even following directions. Vision is really important. People kind of forget that, I think.
Well, I think we just totally take it for granted.
Exactly.
I mean, personally, I do. But also what you were talking about, is it the case that sometimes children are misdiagnosed with, like, for example, a learning disability?
Yes.
Do with learning, like reading or something else, but it's really a vision problem?
Absolutely. So, and again, that picture, you can actually tell what type of learner they are just by a quick look at the eye. Are they a kinesthetic learner, a visual learner, an auditory learner? And ideally, you should be able to be facile with all three. And a lot of times that visual system is not functioning properly, and that's what kind of holds back the learning. So we call it like a nonverbal learning disorder. And that really means that it's visual and visually based as opposed to.
Oh, that's what that means. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's a pretty common occurrence, like in the special education arena.
Yeah, and sadly, there's just not enough of us that do vision therapy. So typically, the school just will give accommodations, or parents will assume that nothing can be done about it. But just like you might do physical therapy for somebody that has motor challenges, you can also do vision therapy to help remediate vision problems.
Wow. So do you work often with children in like special education?
Absolutely. That's kind of half the practice, really.
Oh,
So
wow.
all of our locations do vision therapy. We have vision therapists. There's 11 doctors now in the practice, and
Wow.
like 9 of us all do vision therapy, or
That's
we'll do
amazing.
that type of evaluation as well.
So I'm putting up your slide again because I think this is relevant. So you have 4 locations around Connecticut.
There's 2 actually in Westchester as well. I just didn't
Okay.
put them on, but we do have 2 locations there as well.
Okay.
And Mount Kisco and Mayapack, New
And
York.
the website, the Connecticut Eye Care Associates.com is really where all the information is.
Yes.
Okay. Super. Well, good. Well, I hope people learn. This is a great learning opportunity to find out more. And I mean, we're just kind of the tip of the iceberg today, I guess. There's so much available. Wow. So I'm really glad.
And then as far as that whole, the iris piece and the birth order, that's all part of RAID International. I mean, that could be another whole talk, but that's also a spiritual practice that I'm working with Denny Johnson on. We offer retreats and trainings on that whole system, but that's part of becoming personally responsible, but also being in line with nature. So looking at the different seasons and the different times of the day as ways to access our own soul development. So that's kind of cool there.
Well, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I was wondering because I saw something that you had sent out about the retreat. So what can you describe more about that in terms of what people would experience?
Sure. I'll just show you very quickly. I know this is a very complicated picture,
Okay.
but every 2 hours, there's a
Mhm.
different energy available. And those different energies actually can help us to align all of our chakras, if you will. And there are opportunities to clear challenges in different areas, but different parts of our family tree. So a lot of it is healing generational trauma, but intentionally using different times of the day, different seasons, different hours to say, I want to work with this feeling or this grandparent, and asking for the truth and guidance about it. We can clear some of that, but we can also, which is something that we kind of forget to do, I think, is build attributes. So it's a program for learning how to develop gratitude, to develop our ability to let go, our ability to be in non-judgment, our ability to see our own radiance, and things that we forget, but we are all essentially light beings.
Yeah.
And that's really where we want to return to.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, great. So that's this. It's amazing how much there is available for everybody.
It's so true.
And some people gravitate towards one area of healing and growth, some towards another. So this is yet another. So
Exactly. And they all sometimes work concurrently. So you might be doing some emotional work, but you might need some body work, to help the body catch up.
oh, definitely. I think it all to me, it's like it's all necessary.
Exactly.
All
And
of those.
vibrationally, we want to be in harmony. So we want to make sure we're eating healthy and not putting harmful foods or other things into our body, if we want to, grow spiritually.
Mhm. Oh, yes, definitely. That I think that really helps us. The way I envision it is like a clear channel.
Mhm.
Like the more we clear out of old energy that's not serving us, old emotions that we don't want to have stuck in our system. All of that stuff. Clear that out, and the physical is part of that with the food,
Yeah.
like you're
And
saying.
I love what you do too, because so many people are really struggling now and they're looking for answers. So, helping them find a path that works and feels more harmonious is really key. I also love working with teens, young people. I can look at their eyes and say, hey, did you ever think of doing this? Or, wow, you have the skills of X, Y, and Z, because you can see what their divine attributes are, and they just love it because it helps to validate who they are, and that's really
Yeah.
what you're doing. It's helping people find their true essence.
Oh, well, you said that beautifully, Randy. It's so
Yeah.
true. And I think that teenagers and young adults, they're just developing that self-awareness, and the more we can assist them on that journey is really, really important. Well, this is great. It was so wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Wrap up. And is there any one last thing? We have about 20 seconds if you wanted to share anything.
The best practice is gratitude. So
Okay.
every morning to just be grateful for that light, the morning
Yeah.
light.
Yes, I love that. Stay in gratitude and stay in joy and spread the love and the joy and the light.
You got it.
Well, thank you again for being on the show. And I'm definitely making an appointment. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.